Hey guys, Fletch the Football Observer here, and today's Fletch Talks video is going to centre around the sacking of Chris Hughton from Brighton. Not even 24 hours has passed since the end of the 2018-19 Premier League season, and already we have our first managerial casualty in Brighton's Chris Hughton, who, despite beginning the season well and maintaining a mid-table position, beyond the halfway point of the season, Brighton's season took a bit of a nosedive, and they were then slowly being drawn into a relegation battle. In the end, though, Brighton survived by the skin of their teeth, securing their Premier League status with 2 games remaining to be in 17th place, eventually finishing 2 points from the danger zone. But it appears that maintaining Brighton's Premier League status, however fortunate or risky it may have seemed, wasn't enough for the 60-year-old to keep his job. And to be fair, it was a pretty poor season for Hughton to finish upon. Just before the midway point of the season, Brighton began some poor run of form that over time grew and slowly dragged them into a relegation battle. And the stat that stands out the most is that in the Premier League, they had only won 3 of the last 23 games. They had also picked up 6 draws during that time, so really, it was mainly their early season form that saw them retain their Premier League status and survive this season. And this does include the current run of 9 league games without a win. Despite a dismal run in the league, however, a bright light in an otherwise dark season for the Seagulls was their FA Cup run. They had managed to get right the way through to the semi-finals before being beaten by Manchester City, whilst in the Carabao Cup, Brighton failed to make it past the second round following a loss to Southampton. Hughton was applauded for not just stabilising Brighton as a championship side, but for also achieving promotion to England's top tier division for the 2017-18 season. And then, of course, within his first season, he perhaps defied people's expectations of Brighton, which were to instantly go back down to the Championship, by surviving, and did so again this season. But with being 2 places off of last year's final standing and 4 points off of last year's final points tally, Brighton have seen this as possibly a step back, and have taken action to sack Hughton, with his last game being the 4-1 Manchester City victory over the Seagulls that saw Pep Guardiola's side crowned Premier League champions. Personally, I think that perhaps it's a little bit of a rash decision from Brighton. I've always liked Chris Hughton as a manager, always felt like he tried to adapt his game as time has progressed, always said the right things to the media, and he's never seemed to really have any problems or any issues with either himself, the club, or his players. But I can also see it from the other side of things too. Like, this season has been a little bit of a backward step for the club, and maybe after 4.5 years in charge, perhaps it is time for something a bit fresh and a bit of more of a different approach to the club and the game and the Premier League. But as for his replacement, it's early days, of course. There's no real rush to make a snap decision because obviously the season's over, the summer's here, pre-season begins in about a month or two's time, so that's when really the club can start looking to building towards next season. But early betting has suggested that Swansea's Graham Potter is the front runner to take up that vacant managerial role, which is certainly, as I said, a fresh and different approach to the club. So we'll just have to wait and see on this one. And that wraps up this video on Chris Hughton being sacked by Brighton after 4.5 years in charge with the Seagulls. But what do you think? Were Brighton wrong to sack Hughton, or were they right to do so? And who do you think will replace him at the Amex Stadium, or who do you want to see replace him? I'd love to see and read your thoughts and opinions on this subject in the comments section below. Hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this, both things will be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all for watching and listening. I've been Fletch the Football Observer, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.